We're joined by the head coach of the Liberty Flames, Hugh. Flames coming off a 41-13 win over Middle Tennessee on Saturday to improve to 5-1 and chance to get to bowl eligibility this weekend with a win over ULM. Road game coming up Saturday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Coach, we'll start with your thoughts on the win here this past weekend, and you can give us what you've seen on ULM, then we'll take some questions.
Yeah, sorry I was late. I had a few player meetings that went a little long. The team meeting this morning, the positives on special teams, we netted 53.5 yards a punt, which is the largest in my tenure here. Thought Max did an excellent job. They had one of the top returners in the country, and we held them to 3 yards return. So thought that was really well. Field goals, PATs 100%. Kickoffs were really good by Barbier. Negatives on special teams, we had 2 penalties, which is a recurring theme that is causing us to have some field position issues, and we missed 8 tackles, which is not really normal on the kickoff unit. But a pretty solid game there. Defense was really good. Created turnovers. The safety, one of the one of the best plays in my my coaching career probably was the hustle by Henry Jabuzzi on that play. I mean, that was phenomenal effort, and that's the effort it takes to be a great football team. 4th and short stop was big, held them to 35 yards rushing, which is incredible. So 13 possessions were 3 and outs, so it was pretty dang good. 3 sudden changes, and they stopped them twice. Only negative defensively is we gave up that 4th and 10 completion, which that's a down we preach is a critical down. We've got to win that down. We weren't great on 3rd and medium, but only had really 1 explosive play. So man, that was really good. Offensively, 10 explosives, which is good. We outrushed our opponent pretty considerably. Thought we were really balanced, about the same passing, rushing. We averaged about 6 yards attempt on a rush, and I think we were 5-5 in the red zone. So turnovers were the huge deal, and then 3 penalties that I thought cost us some 3rd down conversions. Had a nice screen set up to Shadro and got a holding call on, and couple other deals, but really the big thing is the turnovers. That hadn't been us all year. We'll bounce back from that hopefully, and and not make those. Malik short-circuited his did not read the correct progression on the first one, which is not like him. And second one just was a little underthrown. It was into the wind, a little underthrown. And the third one I'll take blame for. It's a bad. I should never schematically that play, which we've had a lot of success with. It doesn't work in the set that we run it out. I've never run it out of that set in my whole career, and someone talked me into it, and it's my fault for listening. I knew better, and it's my fault. So that last interception's on me. So, thrilled to beat a solid MTSU team. I thought our crowd was incredible. I thought it was really good, and it was exciting to be at home. And I just think that our crowd was really awesome, and it was a good homecoming to see a lot of people back here.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions here for head coach Hugh. We'll start with Damien from the News in Advance.
Is everything all right with my screen? It looks weird here.
Yeah, it's the screen looks off on the computer, but we can hear you okay, so we'll roll with it for now.
Okay.
He wanted to ask you something that transpired late last week and didn't want to ask you after the game was Marcuskins electing to enter the transfer portal. Was that something where it was a mutual decision, or was it something that caught you off guard? And how do you feel that leaves you in the cornerback room moving forward?
Yeah, nothing catches me much off guard anymore. I think we live in a world where people are entitled to they feel the way they feel, and they have an idea what's best for them. And I don't agree with it sometimes what people think is best for them. But at the end of the day, he's a young adult, and we wish him certainly the best. We loved having him here, and obviously you never like to lose players, but that's the kind of the world we live in now, and we wish him the best. And it does lighten that room some. So hopefully we can stay healthy there.
Let's go to John from A Sea of Red.
Coach, you mentioned the special teams play on Saturday, and you got two true freshman kickers, a kicker and a punter that are playing, and you mentioned how good of a game Max had, and then Braden also played well. I'm sure that's not something you anticipated happening coming into the season,
Yeah.
But how pleased have you been with the way they've been able to step right in, and with the exception of a couple kicks against UAB a week ago, they both have kind of come into their own a little bit here.
Yeah, I think that's positive for us for the future. I believe I remember, man, that may have been our first fall camp practice or somewhere early in fall camp, me feeling excited about those young kickers, and including Nick in it also. I thought he performed really well. So to see him now carry that over into game 2 when they've been called upon is really exciting for the future and positive.
Let's go to Ed from CBS Sports Radio Local.
Hugh, the interesting thing about how NIL has taken fold this year is in some cases teams have adapted really well to it, and it hasn't seemed to impact their play. In other cases, either players have struggled, or obviously there are situations where different twists and turns come with it. How would you assess that you and your staff have handled that? Because it doesn't appear like it's been a distraction at all to your team, at least not from the outside.
I'll tell you the God's honest truth. I have no clue who has a name, likeness, image deal. Don't want to know, don't care to know. Happy for them if they get them. If I saw it becoming a distraction in our locker room, I think I would probably try to get involved as much as I can. I think there's some rules in Virginia. I don't think coaches are supposed to be involved in it, and I honestly have no clue. Well, that's not exactly true. I saw somewhere where our O-line had some kind of deal with some barbecue place or something, but I don't think it's much of a deal, really. It didn't sound like they were getting a whole lot. So I don't care to know, don't want to know. Again, happy, not against it. Happy if it happens for them. But, I haven't seen it become a distraction, and hopefully that will continue to be the case.
Let's go back to Damien.
Hugh, I believe middle of last week, the NCAA Division I Council allowed a one-year waiver on football scholarship limits, which allows you to sign, I believe, 7 additional players in the class to go from 25 to 32 in case of the transfers mid-year. How do you feel about being able to bring in up to 32 players instead of the max of 25?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely one of the smarter things that those committees have done. I think in this world of the transfer portal, I think there's no way that in one breath you can say we're all about the kids' safety and health and all of that, but then ask a team because of the transfer world to play at below the scholarship limits. So I hope they'll continue to look into everything that needs to be adjusted. I think we as coaches would prefer you just say, look, you get to be at your 85 by the fall, by August of the fall. I don't quite understand why you don't get to count transfers that happened during the season that enter the portal. My understanding is that it has to be on or after the early signing period, which I'm not quite sure, why that is, but it's definitely a good thing that we're going to have the opportunity to replace some of those transfers.
John?
Coach, when you got here, if you looked at the numbers, Liberty's defense had a hard time stopping much of anybody, and now here through this season, your defense is number 5, I believe, in total defense, number 6 in scoring defense. Just how good of a job has Scott and his staff done on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think. The numbers speak for themselves; they just don't lie. So, I think I was clear when I first got here that. There's a couple things that I was convinced of, if not already, when I set out the 2 years and kind of studied the game, and that is, and I did this at Arkansas State and early on at Ole Miss before. It got very difficult at the end to recruit defensive guys at Ole Miss with the status we were under with the investigation on the NCAA stuff. But I just think you build the team around defense. And, so the first priority was hire the right guys. The second priority was get players. And that's where we have probably, spent most of our time trying to improve the speed and length of our defense. And obviously, it speaks for itself, the job that Scott and Josh and Ricky and Tanner and Jack and people before them that were with us. It's a corporate effort there, but again, I think it just they've done a tremendous job. It allows me really on the other side to really be patient a lot of games, and I don't have to worry about stats or let's go get 500 yards or a certain number of points. Let's manage the game and win the game.
Let's go back to Ed.
Hugh, the turnovers, you mentioned those and kind of went in depth in your opening statement, but specifically from Malik's perspective, give us some insight into the last 48-ish hours. I guess it'd be 36 hours, whatever, somewhere in that ballpark. Since that game, what you've seen out of him and what you've seen out of the rest of the offensive staff to try to curtail that starting with this weekend's game.
We just got through a meeting as the offensive unit, and I go through every negative play with the entire staff, the entire team, and then I go through the explosives and say what went right, and I show some effort plays too. There was some tremendous effort plays by Johnny Huntley, Jerome Jackson, tight ends, all of them, all of those guys. Trevor Hobbs, so they all had some outstanding, effort plays. Malik, some of those plays he made were just pretty phenomenal still. There was a lot of positives. And obviously I go through the negatives and I say what the truth is of it. I say if it was a bad call by me. I say if it was a poor execution by the players. And I show them exactly why. This play should have worked. This play shouldn't work. It's a bad call. I call it just like it is, and I think our kids respect that. No one owns the integrity of a film any better than Malik Willis. And he is, he came in my office afterwards, and, we were talking about several things, but he said it sure feels better sure feels better to be sitting here Monday after a 3-turnover game than like NC State last year, where you lose by a point and had turnovers. And so that's what I told him, man. It's over. Let's build on it. You know exactly why. You're supposed to read inside out on that first one, and you didn't. And the second one, maybe the wind affected it some. It was an underthrown ball, and the guy made a really good play on it. And the third one is on me. I shouldn't have asked you to even have to read that play. So he'll be fine. He'll move on, and you just got to get those corrected and read through your progression on the ones that was the issue.
Damian?
Yeah, I know with the COVID year that Demario is still listed as a redshirt freshman, but 21 games in, he's reached 1,000 yards for his career, and he's really seemed to have blossomed this year in terms of understanding, he can line up slot, boundary, field side, and really make an impact. And where do you think has been the biggest stride Demario has made this year?
Man, we've believed in him since day one on the campus. So his work ethic's incredible. And I don't know that he had to do anything but just get the opportunities because he prepares the way you're supposed to prepare. And when others come in and want to have conversation with me about what do I need to do, I said prepare like Demario does every practice. And, that's his preparation along with his talent. When I'm teaching our themes like I taught the one this morning, man, you don't win the game or you don't catch that number of balls on Saturday. You won it back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when you prepared, and no one prepares any better than he does.
John?
And now you head on the road to face a Monroe team that's coming off a couple tough losses, but they did pick up a nice win earlier this season against Troy, knocking them off a team you guys faced. What type of challenges do they present for you this week?
Man, every week's a challenge, whether it's the injuries, whether it's COVID, or whether it's travel, or whether it's all that combined with a good opponent. This team is extremely athletic. And good gracious, do they bring pressure, and probably a higher percentage than I thought. Middle was really high. This team's even higher, so we've struggled some with that. And so we've got to obviously, held Kentucky to 130 yards rushing, which was impressive. Beating Troy was shocking to me because I thought Troy was really, really good on defense. And then obviously difficult loss to Georgia State last week, and Coastal's a really good team. So, I think playing at Monroe is a tougher task than a lot of places. And, our kids are certainly going to they'll be hearing and listening to you should win, you're this, you're that. To me, this game signifies a possible 6 win to get bowl eligible in our third straight season, which is a goal of mine every year. And so it is really, really important, and we should prepare accordingly to go be tested by a very athletic and a veteran coaching staff. I mean, I have great respect for Terry Bowden, Tommy Bowden, and obviously that whole family. And he knows how to win football games and prepare a team. And then Rich Rod is a guy I've had respect for a long time as one of the best offensive minds. So, we've got to prepare to go play a very athletic football team.
Yeah, Coach, I was just about to ask you about that. We know that Bobby Bowden and you had some conversations throughout the years, but how well do you know Terry and that family as a whole?
I know Terry, fairly well. I mean, we it's not like that we're great friends that talk all the time. But I did talk to him when his tenure, when he was at Akron, and he was having success. And then when it ended, we talked several times and about what his next steps were and what his thinking was. And he's been very very helpful and friendly throughout the years. And I think a lot of the way they combine faith and football, I just have a lot of respect for him and his family.
All right, last one here. We'll end with Damian.
Hugh, you brought up injuries and how that plays into preparing for a game. You brought up Demario, DJ, Cooper, John Graham with ankle injuries against Middle Tennessee, and then you said you were concerned about Quentin Reese. Do you have an update on any injuries for us?
Man, the list is so long I can't go through it. It would take it would take the rest of the day, it seems. So we got a long laundry list of injuries. Hopefully we'll get a few kids back, and hopefully some of those ankles will be able to go. We'll get the clarity on Quentin later today, but it looks like it could be something that's not good for him, and I just hate that. He's an incredible teammate and a heck of a player too. So, but I want to wait and make sure I'm right on that.